Welcome back, everybody. We are going to be discussing Spurs in their mid-season update, how they've done so far, where we think they can go, some transfer news maybe for them, what we think they should be doing, and give them a final grade at the end. So Spurs currently sitting in 8th place after 25 games played. How do you think they've done so far, George?
Early on in the season, they were at the top. Son and Kane were popping off. Like, the team was playing quite well defensively as well. Højbjerg was this next big center defensive mid signing. He was really good piece of business.
Yep.
And I think it just all went to shit. Basically, they've just started losing games to smaller teams. Their defense has crumbled. Sane says me. Son and Kane, they're not popping up as much as they were. They were almost getting a goal each every match, and now they're kind of just struggling to find shots on target. So, yeah, it's been fairly poor recently from Spurs, and for a manager like Jose Mourinho, for his team to be playing this way, it's kind of it's worrying to see.
I think, I'll go next because I think Gui is gonna have a little bit of love for Jose, so I'll throw in the hate. I think if you're Tottenham Hotspur looking at the start of the season, like you said, you think this is why we brought Jose in. We want a title challenge now. This season and next season are going to be our seasons, and we're going to crash and burn in the third season, and we'll rebuild. That's the logic, right? The logic is we're going to bring him in, maybe get a bit of silverware, which Spurs, haven't had in so many years. Great idea. Looking at it now, it's just a shitstorm. They're 8th. They're free falling. I mean, in their last couple games, the awful game against Everton, the 5-4 one where there was no defending, the 3-0 to City where they didn't even put up a chance. They lost 2-1 to West Ham. Okay, they beat Burnley 4-0. Fair enough. But, it's not been looking rosy. And Harry Kane and Heung-min Son are kind of dried up. George, you made this point every single podcast. If Harry Kane and Heung-min Son aren't flying, Spurs aren't flying. And I think for everyone giving Arsenal a lot of shit this season, Liverpool a lot of shit, Spurs have kind of flown under the radar. And I think, in their last 5 games in the Prem, 2 wins, 3 losses, not something you want to see under Jose Mourinho. I think Spurs are probably the only side that can get Jose Mourinho in and have the third season Jose Mourinho in the first season. They're talking about getting him sacked. It's just a shitstorm, and I'm loving it. What do you think?
I think that's the thing, man. Like, if you sack Mourinho, I can tell you, whoever comes in will not fix the disgusting team that is Spurs. I'm telling you, dude, Chief. So many of these players people think are actually good, but they have never been. Mourinho came in. The reason Spurs were conceding so little is because he fucking parked the bus. 2 defensive center mids, making Dyer look okay, making Aurier look okay, making Tanganga look okay. All these people who are no names at the end of the day look good. And once you chill, once you don't park the bus, like they did against Everton, well, you concede 5 in the FA Cup against an Everton B side. Trash players. A lot of them need to go. So many. However, there are some shining stars. Apart from Kane and Son, Reguilon has been insane.
He is nuts, very good. Fair.
And Dombele, he's been way more consistent. And when he is playing at his supposed level, he's actually a very, very good player. Talented. Still young. Definitely one for the future. Yeah, he's had his stinkers, but like I said, yeah, he's been good too. However, they need to sign 1, 2, maybe even 3 center backs. No cap. There is a humongous problem. Especially if they want to play with a left back and a right back, full backs who can go forwards. You need some security at the back. You cannot leave those guys alone, as they've done, right?
Their 3 center back options, by the way, against Burnley were Davinson Sanchez, Toby Alderweireld, and Eric Dyer.
Even Alderweireld has regressed so much. He's old. He can't run. He's getting beat in the air, and physically speaking, by so many more players. He's regressed a lot. A lot. I think Spurs fans should and will have a lot of love for him. Because, I mean, he's a club legend, but it's time. Sometimes it is just time. Maybe he could stay another season.
Yeah. Time to stop.
It's time to
But that's all dark and gloomy. However, There's some sunlight, some light at the end of the
The
tunnel.
Portuguese love coming in.
They're in the Europa League. They have looked great. I think they actually have a much higher chance, not much higher, but slightly higher chance than Arsenal of winning the whole thing. Not even
Get
joking.
out
They
of
have looked a
here.
lot better. I'm not even
Get
joking.
out of here, dude.
As weird as that may sound, they have looked consistent in that competition. Bale, Dele Alli are coming back to form. I think they could
Bro.
possibly maybe win it. They're not favorites, not at all,
Bro,
but they have a
you're
decent
telling me
chance.
Gareth
They're
Bale.
also
You're telling me Gareth Bale has come back to form when he scored against Wolfsburg. Not even the good Wolfsburg. The shit Wolfsburg.
Chief. He's been like you're just looking at his goals, but he's actually been playing well, even in that West Ham game,
No,
which they
he's
lost.
not been as bad as his goal return has been. I'm just shitting on Tottenham.
Understandable. However, yeah, like if he keeps going, because you never know with Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Who knows? If he keeps it going, yeah, there's a chance. Dele Alli too. Looks like he fixed things up with Mourinho because they had a very rough relationship.
Yeah.
Looks like things are a bit better. If those two keep going, and Dyer and those guys pull up, stop making these crazy individual mistakes, things could end up okay. They could potentially win the EFL Cup. That would be huge, though the chances are very low.
Yeah.
They are in the final. It is just one game. It is 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Anything could happen, right?
To be fair, for all the Jose hate that I've thrown out, if there's one manager in the world I had to bet my life on to win one underdog game, it's probably Jose. If there's anyone in the world who could just shithouse a Spurs win against City, it's Jose.
That's cap, bro. That's cap. There's no loss for City there.
I don't think so either. If I had to put my money on it, I wouldn't. But
Yeah.
George, you gotta admit, if there's one person in the world, one manager,
Yeah,
maybe
I'm a
Diego
little bit
Simeone,
scared.
But Jose has did it with Porto. He's done it with Inter. He's done it again and again and again. And even though those clubs were Champions Leagues, Spurs level is EFL Cup. Get that.
Yeah, I have a reason to be scared. So, you never know. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think
Spurs are shite is the main moral of this.
Do you know what? Right.
Yeah.
I've been shitting on Spurs. We've all been shitting on Spurs. They're not actually that bad. They're still 2 places above Arsenal. Even though that we've played a game over them and we're still 2 points behind. So they haven't had a completely god awful season. The reason that I'm saying that their season has been bad is because, like we said, with a lot of teams, for example, the Liverpool one, where it's the expectation. Arsenal came into this with a young manager. Maybe United did with a young manager, not having huge expectation. Top 4, let's get it. Spurs came in with, let's challenge for the league. We got Jose Mourinho. We're going to do it. So I think it's just the expectation is kind of shut out. And Gui, like you said, they need center backs. So who do you think that they could sign that would really, really put them in? And we're gonna go with a realistic one. They're not gonna go out and sign like Sergio Ramos or something.
Yeah, obviously. Well, while I think, I'll just say that if Spurs manage to make it to European football, preferably Champions League, though that is very unlikely given Chelsea's resurgence, Leicester's consistency, and Man U, they're kind of just shithousing wins back in there. They got a lot of quality. I really doubt they can break top 4, but if they get European football or Europa League, that'd be great. Also, they could potentially get in by depending on the FA Cup winner, because I'm still favorite City to win that, and if they do, it frees up a slot of European football, as well as the Europa League. If they end up winning it, which is also unlikely, they could make Champions League that way. So, if Spurs make European football, make a deep run in the Europa League, and potentially win the EFL Cup, that is a successful season. Honestly, it is a good season. They still have a lot on the cards, though. It's not looking good. They could still make this one of the best seasons in recent years. No joke.
Agree. I think
No
if they
joke, no
win
joke.
anything, genuinely anything, it could be fucking the Aldi Cup, it could be the Little Cup. If they win anything, it's
been 12 years. 13, actually.
Exactly, it's
I
a
believe.
win for them. It's like when Arsenal
Yeah.
won that FA Cup when we had like 10 years of no trophies. It's so important to get that first trophy, and for players like Harry Kane, it's going to be so important keeping him, because if Harry Kane's hitting his prime, and we've been saying this for so long, he wants to win things. He doesn't want to be sitting there next to like Marcus Rashford, who is a worse player than him, like when they're both pundits, and Marcus Rashford has like a Champions League or has a Premier League or something, and Harry Kane's sitting there with his Aldi Cup. Do you know what I mean? He needs something on the CV, and if they can't start putting those wins together, they won't be able to keep him. So I think it's super important for multiple reasons for them to win that game or even the Europa League. If they won the Europa League, that'd be even bigger. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a grade, and I'm gonna go with a. I think they've had a worse season than Chelsea, and I gave Chelsea a C. And I'd say their expectations, maybe Chelsea was a little bit higher, but Tottenham have fallen a bit more. So I'm gonna give them like a C minus, maybe D plus. They could, although saying that, they could literally go from C minus to A in one game. That's how big that game is for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But I agree. I'll give him a C because all these hypotheticals I'm talking about are hypotheticals at the end of the day. This season can still crash and burn very easily.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But thus far, a C because Europa League's good, looked good. Prem, a lot of embarrassing losses. The Brighton one comes to mind. That game was extremely hard to watch. The players looked like they didn't care, man. That was sad. But anyway, back to the point. Yeah, C. We'll see how it goes. Could go down to an F, could go up to an A.
Yeah. I think I agree. I think if they crash and burn out of the EFL Cup, let's say they just very funnily get knocked out in the next Euro thing by, I think it's Dynamo Zagreb, or it's someone. They get knocked out by them, they get knocked out of the EFL Cup, and they finish like 8th.
And miss out on European football. That is a stinker.
Miss out on European football, and Arsenal finish above them. Then I think it's a straight F. Or it's like an NA. Like, just discard the season. It's never happened, dude. What are you thinking, George?
I'm also going C minus. For a team that has to depend on their 2 stars to play well is not good in my books.
Yeah.
So, C minus.
One thing I think we haven't talked about, final point, before we kind of go on to transfers, there's not a huge amount of young talent coming out of Tottenham. And I think that's something that can really change the mood of fans. You look at City. City, their whole club is built around building, like, not their whole club, but their whole kind of fan base is, we love Phil Foden. Phil Foden is the next Iniesta. And it's, a young players can be so important for a team. You have Man United have a good few. Arsenal have Saka. You can kind of pin your hopes on them because you know that they're still going to improve. They're still going to get better. With Tottenham, especially this Tottenham side, they don't have that. And I think that's kind of worrying, because even if Jose goes, you can't look at that. You can't look at this player and say he's improved drastically. Do you know what I mean? I think the closest thing they have to that is probably Ndombele, but there's no like Troy Parrott is an example for them, but he doesn't play. You can't look at a player and say he's gone from a nobody to a starter, and I think that's also something you should look at.
Well, Mourinho started what's his name, Joe Rodon, I think. He started him in some of the big Prem games, and well, he wasn't that great. He made that big mistake against Liverpool that cost him a goal, for example.
Yeah.
But he did show some good play, and well, if there's a position they needed centre back, so he could come in handy. Not sure about his potential though, but that's one guy. Everybody else we've seen, like Ganga, I don't know how to say his name. That guy. Dane Scarlett, Lavinia, John, I think was Niall John or something. These dudes, they've all shown up for like limited minutes, looked okay, but at least you know they're there. You're aware.
We got
Mourinho's shown that he isn't scared to play them in some games. So there's that hope.
Yeah.
Though there isn't much room to play them, right? Because Tottenham are really grasping at straws. You need the 3 points. It's very risky to send out these youngsters. If you're City and you're like 3-0 up at halftime, a lot more room to try those kind of things, right?
But you say that Arsenal, we need points every week, and we brought in Emile Smith-Rowe, a talent that
Well, that's just how dog shit your team is, Chief.
But we've been saying but my point is, we've been saying
true. Like Lamella.
This is what
honestly,
I'm saying.
A youngster could do better. Harry Winks. Get him out of the Prem.
Harry Winks.
Get him out.
A good example: Joe Hart, Harry Winks, Eric Dyer. Ben Davies, Carlos Vinicius, all these players, I bet you Spurs, for Carlos Vinicius,
so bad.
Carlos Vinicius is ass. I bet you if you ask any Spurs fan, would you rather Carlos Vinicius get 20 minutes or Troy Parrott? They'd say Troy Parrott every day of the week because they want that excitement. They want to see their player, like, because you have a certain affinity with them. Like, I have a certain affinity with Bukayo Saka. But yeah. We move forward. That was our Spurs roundup. That was our Spurs mid-season roundup.
That was our timer not to go over time.
Yeah, that was our timer. Sorry, everyone. That was our mid-season roundup. Thanks, everyone, for watching us. We will see you guys next time.